the first thing that we did in terms of PV analysis, we ran two different PV arrays. Okay, so we ran in the same building, we ran two different analyses, and I wanted you to design the mechanical systems, because mechanical systems take up a lot of space on the roof. So if we decide something like that, we can place PV panels here where the mechanical systems, the air handling unit or the heat pumps are. And even if we do this, that's the option that we have in this building, in the TDS center. We have another structure and we have this roof. And yeah, so we can, yeah, so here the mechanical systems, they don't bother because we have like an extra roof. This is more expensive. We make the most of, or we can take up more area. We can control the tilt with this option. This is cheaper because we are placing the PV panels on the roof. We don't have to create an extra structure. The drawback is that we have fewer panels, or we have less area, because we have to, yeah, we need that gap between different rows. Okay, so why is that? Because if we work with the shadows, okay, so if we are on December the 31st, okay, so if this is winter, this is December, and we are at noon here, we cast shadows. So look at this. Okay, so that would be, we have to be careful with that, because at that moment, there will be shadows on that roof, on that, on those rows. Is it important? Well, it is, because if 30% of the panel is in shade, the outcome is 0. It doesn't mean that we produce only 70% of the energy. We produce 0. Okay, so we have to be careful with that. So probably in December, this will not work very well, especially if we keep moving this at 4 p.m. Okay, so at 4 p.m. We won't be producing anything because most of the PV array is in shade. Well, this first one will be producing something, but all these will not be producing anything. Okay, so that's in winter, it's difficult, and because we have this solar analysis. So with this solar analysis, at 4 p.m., we don't have any production. What about at 3 p.m.? No, I don't know. Is this more than 30%? Yeah, I think more than 30% of this row is in shade. So it won't be very good. And what about at 2 p.m.? Okay, at 2 p.m., maybe we will produce something. And then if we keep going at 10 a.m., 10 a.m. seems good, but 8 a.m., no way. Okay, so at 8, there are a lot of shades here, a lot of shadows, and so probably it won't be. Anyway, Revit takes that into account. And so with this PV array, we have less area, and we have this problem because we have these rows casting shadows. With this, in this case, we don't have this problem. We can run the solar analysis casting shadows, and this is not affected, so we can have more hours of production even at 3 p.m. Yes, so here there is no shadows affecting this PV array. Okay, so if we can do this, it's better, but we have to pay more because we need a structure. Well, basically, we have to create like another floor. In this building, you see that there's a steel structure holding this roof that we have there. So the initial investment it's higher, so we have to spend more money on this PV array than on that PV array. On the other hand, the production, the energy production of this PV array is better than the other one. So those are things that we have to keep in mind. And what are the implications? First, the aesthetics of the building, because it impacts the building a lot. Okay? It can be for better or for worse. So maybe it's something that it's beautiful. I think this building, the TDS Center, I think it goes well. This kind of roof in this building on this campus. In other buildings, maybe it's not that good. And then we have this. This is less. It has less impact on the aesthetics of the building, because basically, if you are walking down the street, you don't notice that we have PV panels. It's cheaper, but the production is slower. So those are the things that we have to consider when we are doing that. So we are going to analyze the impact of both options. Okay, so we have two options. In terms of energy production, this option is much better for sure. But in terms of the economic analysis, which option is the best? We'll find out today. Okay, so what do we need? We need to compare. Okay, so you remember that we had this analysis from the design advisor. So that was the Excel file. And here we have the primary energy use. Okay, so the energy use or the energy consumption. We have January, February, March, April, the whole year. And here we have the energy that we need for heating, the energy that we need for cooling, the lighting. And today we're going to focus on the total energy. Okay, so we created this graphic. This graphic is useful because in summer we have cooling. It makes sense. In winter we have heating. It makes sense. And then we have lighting. This is the artificial lighting. The artificial lighting depends on the schedule. Okay, so if we are using the building mainly during the evening, the amount of lighting energy that we need will increase. I think we set up schedule from 8 to 5. So in theory, we can make the most of natural light. So that's why lighting is not very important. It doesn't have a great impact on the total energy consumption, but it depends on the building. Okay, so if we are in a tropical country, probably the heating is not relevant, because just we have comfort throughout the year. And depending on the use of the building, the artificial lighting can be more or less important. But those are the decisions that we have to make when we are analyzing the building. In the building that we are analyzing now, this is the energy consumption. We have a lot of heating in January, February, December. We have cooling in July and August. This April, May, September, October, we don't consume a lot of energy. And in terms of lighting, since the schedule is 8 to 5, we don't need a lot of artificial lighting because of the schedule. Okay, so but it doesn't mean that it's always going to be like this. It depends on the building, it depends on the location, it depends on the use of the building, the schedule, the occupancy. So there are a lot of things to consider. Anyway, this is the building that we're working with. And then today we're going to focus on the total energy. And we have to compare the total energy consumption or use with the total energy production. So let's do that with PV watts. Well, first, we can do that with Revit. Remember that if we have this option, we're going to do it again to remember what we did. I'm going to get rid of the shadows because it might be more difficult. So remember that in Revit, we have to go to Analyze. Here we have the solar analysis. And the custom is the solar energy, annual PV. We need this. The user selection, I have to select this roof. Okay, so now I select that roof. Click Finish. And we have selected 170 square meters. So that's the roof area. And if we update, we have this outcome. With this option, we produce 38,490 kilowatt hours per year. That's the only information that we have from Revit. Well, we have other information, but it's difficult to get it. So we are going to look at this number. This is the total yearly energy production of this PV array. If we go back to this option, so in this option, we have to go to analyze. We have to go to solar again, solar annual energy, and in user selection, I have to select this and this and this and this and that. Okay, so that's the area that we have available. Finish. What else? Select again. Hmm? Okay, so I don't want to select that. I want to select this. And I don't want to select that. If I finish, what? In this case, with this area, the production is 22. It was 38,000 with the other option. With this option is 22,000. Why? Because we have less area and some of the panels are casting. This is it. Okay, so we have the peak solar energy in kilowatt hours per square meter, and we have the lowest that we have here. So there's it's different throughout the year. We have done the solar energy analysis, okay? So if we carried out an analysis of just the winter, probably that would be different. We can try. We can select here sun settings. And in sun settings, we have this multi-day. It goes from January the 1st until December the 21st. Okay, so that's the yearly analysis. But what if we do, for example, the winter solar study? Okay, so for the winter solar study, we go from December the 21st until March the 39th. Okay, so that's the winter. So if we do this with the sun settings, solar analysis, annual installation, cumulative. I'm going to update the analysis, see what happens. Okay, it doesn't. Yeah, so here we have the yearly analysis. There's a way to, if we use custom, and here we have options. Okay, so that's it. If you, instead of using the solar energy annual PV, if you use a custom analysis, here in settings, we can use sun settings. Okay, so it's not the full annual, it's the sun settings. So we have set the sun settings to winter. So if we apply this and we update the analysis, let's see what happens now. Yep, this is it. It's 124. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do the winter solar study, apply. Okay, so now it makes it, now it works because here we have the 1221 to 319 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's the winter solar analysis. If we update now, the things will be different. Yeah, they are different. It's only 18. Okay, so the number is different. And here we have the sun path from December the 21st until March the 19th. Okay. What if we change the sun settings to the summer solar study? We can apply, then we click OK. So now you see that the sun path has changed. And now we have here from June the 21st to September the 21st. So that's summer. If we update the analysis, we have a different number here. Okay, so this is what Revit can do. So we can have winter analysis, we can have the summer analysis, or we can have the yearly. Okay, so, but we don't have monthly information. Well, probably if we use the sun settings, we can select the date. If we want to select just January, we can select the starting point June the 1st and the final point June the 30th. If we do this in the sun settings, okay, so that works apparently. It starts on May the 31st or June the 1st, doesn't matter, and it ends here. So if we update that, we have the amount of energy that we have in 1 month, and that's the solar path in 1 month. Okay, so we can do this monthly analysis in Revit by using the sun settings, but I think the yearly it's enough. Okay, so if we do this solar annual and if we update, yeah, so that's the, so we have this 22 and yeah, I think that's the number that we have we had at the beginning. Anyway, this should be different, the sun path, but the yearly analysis is enough for Revit. So we did this before, and now we're going to use PV watts. Okay, so let's use PV watts. So in PV watts, we have to set the location, Keene, New Hampshire. We have to go to the system, and here we have to use the map. Okay, so remember that we are in Keene, New Hampshire. We found like a spot free of buildings or any trees. So we are placing the building in the middle of the field without any objects affecting the shadows. And here we have 2 options. We have the PV array with 170. So the first option was a PV array with 170 square meters. The team, it was 20. And the orientation was south. Okay, so that's the first option. We have to draw a rectangle here. In that rectangle, we have 67 square meters, so it has to be bigger. Up to 170. That was 109. 124. 6. Five. Okay, so this is 170. We have a rectangle, square meters, 170, south oriented. So if we save, here we have the DC system size. So DC system size is in kilowatts, is the peak power. So if everything is working well and all the panels are working correctly, the maximum power that we have is 25 kilowatts. Okay, so once we have this, when we have 170 square meters, the DC system size is 25.5 kilowatts. Tilt 20 degrees. That's the angle of the PV array. And the azimuth is 180. That means that it's south. Okay. If you click here in information, south is 180. If you have a different orientation, you have to change the angle, but it reduces the efficiency a lot. Okay, so if we do this, we go to the results, and the output is 31,800. Remember that with Revit, if we analyze this with Revit, the output equals around 38,000. With PV watts, it's 31. Let's say 32,000 units a kilowatt hour per year. So it's not the same, but it's not that different. If we want to be conservative, we always select the lowest output to run the economic analysis. If we want to be optimistic, we can select the highest, but anyway. So we have this. So in the yearly analysis, we have to compare the Revit output and the PV watts. So Revit is 38,000, PV watts is 31,800 or 32,000. So it's not that different. And now we have to compare the monthly energy production with the total energy consumption or energy use in that we get from the design advisor. So let's do that. We can download these monthly results. So we download this as the Excel file. Okay. And here we have all this information. So in your PowerPoint, you can copy this. Okay, so imagine that we're working with the PowerPoint. We can copy this information. Do you know, or what are we copying, or what is this? This is to show me that at least you did it correctly, because the location is Keene, New Hampshire. Those are the longitude, latitude, the elevation above the sea level. Okay, that's fine. This is the DC system size. That information is important. Okay, so I need to know that you have, at least I need to know that you have the right location in Keene. This is the DC system size. We need the, what else? Oh, the tilt. So I need to know that you have selected the right tilt. And that's information about the efficiency and the DC to AC system size ratio. Okay, so This is everything that the losses, and every time that we convert DC to AC, we lose some energy. That's the inverter efficiency. Okay, so this is information about the system. We are not professional installers of PV arrays, so we can take this for granted. We're not going to change that. Okay, but at least I need to know that you know how to change the location, that you know how to calculate this DC system size, and at least information about the tilt. You can also copy but here I think we have less. If you go to the system info, okay, so we can copy this. And then you can copy the output. Here. Okay, so I need evidence that you have used PV watts, and if I imagine that it's the spring break, so I'm just getting bored, and I decide to check if you have done the calculations correctly. So I should be able to work with all this information to see if I get the same results that you have. Okay, so you can use this. I think that's good, having all this information for the Excel file. But you can take screenshots from the PV watts like this. Okay, so that's the output from PV watts. What else? So now we have to compare this. We have the AC system output in kilowatt hours. Now we have to be consistent with the units. If we have this output in kilowatt hours, we have to compare the total energy, but what are the units here? The units are kilowatt hours per square meter. I think, yeah. So the units here, it was kilowatt hours per square meter. I think I deleted that row, but the units from Design Advisor, it's kilowatt hours per square meter. And that's the floor area. Okay. So what's the floor area? We have to go to Revit. And if we select the floor, the area is 1900 square feet. So what's the floor area? We have to convert square feet to square meter. Square meter. So if we have 1900, so the floor area is 176. Okay. So what's the total in Design Advisor? That's the total energy. And the units here are kilowatt hour per square meter. If I'm going to delete the CO2 emissions, if this is 176, that's the area, the floor area. In square meter. It's 170. It's 176. What's the energy? The total energy? Okay. So what's the total energy in kilowatt hours? So the total energy in kilowatt hours, the area sold is 176. If I move it down, the total energy is kilowatt times kilowatt hour divided by square meter times the area. So that's the total energy in different months. That's the total energy use or the total energy consumption, and the units are kilowatts. Okay, so units are important. Here we are comparing a kilowatt hour per square meter, but now we have to compare the total energy. Okay, so we have to compare the energy that we get from this value, this system output. So that's the energy in kilowatts. So now I'm going to copy these cells, Control C, and I'm going to create another column here, Control V, and okay, so it's not the right place. I have to copy it here. I'll be with you. Let me finish this. I have to copy this here. Okay, so the first month, what the hell is that? The first month is this January, and the last month is December, and that's the AC system output in kilowatt hours. That comes from PV watts. And I have to compare kilowatt hours and kilowatt hours, okay? That's the energy use, and that's the energy output from the PV watts. So what was your question? So from this analysis, we can see that in winter, in January and December, the energy consumption it's slightly more than the energy production. That makes sense because in winter we have less sun, and we have more consumption because we are using the heating system. But in summer, especially, well, not only in summer, but in April, May, we have way more energy than we need to run the building. Okay. And even in summer, in July and August, we have the cooling system on, but we have a lot of hours, so we can have this. So that would be the first option. So that's the output of this first analysis. Smaller. Oh, there. I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, so that would be the slide to summarize everything. Okay, so that's this is the information. That's the screenshots from PV watts, and that's the screenshot or the chart copied from the Excel file. And this is the PV outputs and energy use. What is this? This is option 1, because if you remember, we have 2 options. So I'm going to type here option 1. And it would be great if we can have the screenshot from Revit. By the way, option 1 was the other one. Okay, so option 1 was this one. So here I go to analyze solar. I select this roof and 0. I finish. Yeah, look at this. Revit doesn't like when we have two different files open. Revit doesn't like it, okay? Because when we have this, I can't select this. It doesn't select square meters. So I'm going to take the screenshot of this option. Because that will be option 2. Okay, so that's the second option, but now I'm working with the first one. So I'm going to close the Revit files. And I'm going to open the Revit file again. So if I go to Analyze, Solar, I select the roof, finish, and now I have the 170 square meters selected. I update, and this is the 38,000. Yeah, so that was 38,000. That's the outcome of this option here. Okay, so that's option 1. We have this PV array. This is the value that I get from Revit, 38,000. That's the value that I get from PV watts. It's 31,800 on 32. And that's the analysis that I get from the Excel file comparing Design Advisor and PV watts. Okay, so in 2 slides, I'm using 3 different software. We have Revit, we have Design Advisor, and we have PV watts and Excel. Okay, so I'm using 4 different softwares in these 2 slides. So a lot of things. So that's the option 2. So in the option 2, what do I have? I think that I don't know why here we have 0 square meters selected, because that's not true. We had like 100 square meters. So option 2 is it was 100 square meters. The field I have to find out. The orientation is south. I have to type now the DC system size, the tilt, and the azimuth. The azimuth is south, so it's 180. So now I have to find out first the tilt. So I don't remember that option. Okay, so I already copied this. So I'm going to open the other one. And in the west elevation, yeah, I need that tilt. I don't remember. I can go to annotate, angular dimension, and I want to go from this point to that point. Okay, so this tilt is 30 degrees. It's not 20, so that tilt is 30. So now I have to calculate the DC output that comes from PV watts. So I go to PV watts. I'm going to start over. So I'm in Keene, New Hampshire. I have to select this. So I'm going to go to the same spot here. And well, we can have like 1, 2, 3, 4 different rows. If the total area is 100 square meter, so I can calculate like 4 rows of 25 square meter each. Or I can do like 100. This is 127. So I can have like 100 square meter rectangle. Okay, 102, 96, come on, 101. Okay, that's fine. So I can have like 100 square meter rectangle, save. The tilt now is 30. And it's an open rack. Yeah, so it's a standard. And the DC system size, now it's 15. It was 25 in the other option. So the DC system size is 15.1. Okay, the DC system size depends on the area and the number of panels. If we have less area, so the DC system size will be lower. So we click this, and that's the outcome of, okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of this first. And I'm going to paste it here. Now I want another screenshot of the output. And I'm gonna paste it here. First, we have to compare the Revit and the PV watts results. So in Revit, we had 22 kilowatt hour per year. In PV watts, we have 19. Okay, not bad. So as always, PV watts is more conservative than Revit. Revit is more optimistic. But with this one, I have 19, and with this one, I have 22, but they are close enough. What else? Well, I need all this information and I need data from the Excel file. So I have to download the monthly. I will open the second Excel file. This one. So now I can copy all this information from here to here. Control C, Control V. So I have that information there. And now I need the chart comparing the energy use and the energy production. So let's do it here. So this is the AC system output. So I can copy all this column here. And on this Excel file, what can I do now? So this is option 1. And that would be option 2. So I can paste it, all these values. Copy again. Control C. Control V. So I have copied all these values. And now I have to create another chart. Okay, so I can select the 3 columns. And I can go to insert, another recommended chart. And okay, let's look at this. Okay, so here I have the energy use. So the blue bars are the same. We have the orange, which is the option 1, and then we have the gray, which is the option 2. So in option 2, I have less energy because we have less area, less fewer panels, so I have less energy. So we have a zero energy building because we have more energy than we have consumed, or we produce more energy than we consume. And can you show this graphic with the 2 options? Well, maybe. If you want to hide one of them, we have to right click here, select data, and here see that we have the total energy, the PV watts AC system output, and okay. So if we want to be consistent, we can change the title. This is option 1, system output, and this is option 2, AC system output. And if we do that now, if we select data, we have 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to do it again because I want to know which column. Okay, so I select this again. I select the total energy and all this. Insert chart. I select this one. So with this chart, I have the energy use in blue, and I have 2 options, option 1 and 2. But if I want to select data, so here we have option 1 and option 2. If I don't select option 1, I just have the option 2 here. Okay. So that would be option 2. So I have to change this. This is energy use versus PV output again. These units now, this is kilowatt hours. Okay, so I have to go to chart design, and I have to add the axis title, the primary vertical. So that will be energy, and the units kilowatt hours. I'm going to make the font larger, and this font larger. And now I can copy, Control C, Control V. There you go. Okay. So here we have option 1, a screenshot from Revit, so that I understand the difference between the 2 options. And this is the Revit output, and the Revit output here. And this is the PV watts output, and comparing the PV production and the energy for 2 options. Okay, so for this economic analysis, I'm going to copy this option 1 and option 2, Control C, and I'm going to open a new sheet. Okay, so I'm going to name that sheet energy, and I'm going to open the money tab, and I'm going to paste option 1 and option 2 outputs. Okay, so that's the energy that we are generating month by month. And this is energy that I generate through renewable energies. So it's for free. Once I have installed my PV array, I don't have to pay for it. I have my PV array on the roof, and every month or every year, I get this energy. So how can we turn energy into money? First, can we turn energy into money? Of course we can. So how can we do it? We need to find out the price of the kilowatt hour. So what is the price of kilowatt hour in New Hampshire? Okay, in March 2024, the price is in commercial electricity is 19.5 cents per kilowatt hour, 50% higher than national average. The residential electricity rate is 24.98 cents per kilowatt hour, 58% higher than the national average. So, okay, New Hampshire, it's expensive in terms of energy. So we have around 20 cents per kilowatt hour for commercial and 25 for residential. Well, now it depends. Are we working with a commercial building? Are we working with a residential building? In this case, we have a commercial building. So we can take this to be conservative. So let's say that we can have we're here. So the price of energy, price of a kilowatt hour, kilowatt hour. The price of kilowatt hour is $0.2. Okay, so we're not going to work with cents. We're working with dollars. It's 0.2, 20 cents. It's something between 19 and 25. Okay, so let's say 20 cents. So now what is the total money that we can produce with this? Okay, so if the price of the energy is the same throughout the year, so it's the same in January and it's the same in December. So what's the total money? Okay, so we have to multiply that equals the kilowatt hours times the dollars per kilowatt hour. And if we move it down, that's it. I'm going to format cells with just 2 decimal places, like that. So this is price of kilowatt hours in dollars, it's 0.2. So what's the total, what's the money that we make with the PV array? Okay, so we generate electricity and the electricity has a price, and the price is 2 cents or $0.2 per, it's 20 cents or $0.2 per kilowatt hour. So in January, we are making $275. In June, July, we're making almost 400. So what's the total of the year? What's the total yearly money that we are making? So I have to add all this up. If we want to add this up, we have to insert function. So the first one that we have is sum. And we have to select all this column. And this is the total money the yearly, yeah, the total yearly money that we're making, $3,800, $3,863.53 dollars per year. Okay, units, dollars per year. Okay, so can we assume that the price of energy will be 0.2 for 25 years? I don't think so, but let's assume that we're going to keep this this price. Okay, now we have to compare this. This is the outcome. So I have invested some money, and this is a yearly outcome that I get from that money. So every year, I have spent money on my PV array, and every year I have energy, but it's very difficult. Okay, I have 24,000 kilowatt hours. If we turn that into money, it's $1,300. Okay, so now what is the price of the PV array? Well, this is not as complicated because we can go to different companies and we can find out. Okay, so how much they charge for a 170 square meter PV array, or how much they charge for this 100 square meter PV array. Can we find out? Probably. So I'm going to use my favorite website ever, which is Alibaba PV array. Okay, so here we have a complete solar power system. Oof, it has batteries. If we have batteries, we will, yeah, I don't want batteries. But here we have the PV panels, we have the inverter, we have the batteries, we have all the components of this PV array. Okay, so we have 9.6 kilowatts, and the price is, yeah, we have a discount. So it's around $19,000. But I don't want batteries. So I think I will use, these are the solar panels. This is the kit complete with aluminum frame. Okay, that's perfect. So what is this? This is solar energy system, full package, off grid. If it's off grid, probably we have batteries. We have something that is connected to the grid. Home energy storage. Okay. So this looks interesting. It's 155 to 2000 off-grid solar system. Hybrid. Okay. This is not what I'm looking for. Okay, so imagine that the price of this PV array is around 9,000. Okay, so that's the money that I have to pay upfront. I have to pay $9,000, and every year I'm making 33,000 or 3,800. So what is the the yearly economic output of this business. Okay, so the first year, I have to pay that money. So what's my balance the first year? Minus or negative $9,000, because this is the money that I have to pay up front. What is my balance the following year? So the balance the following year is this cell plus the total yearly outcome, which is this cell here. Okay, so on the second year, my balance is negative 5,000. Why? Because I paid 9,000, and the first year I made 3,800. So what can I do now? If I drag this, because this is year one, and I have to go up to year 25. Okay, so from year one to year 25. And can I drag this formula? Look at what happens here. If I drag this formula, here we have an empty cell. To prevent that from happening, we have to use the dollars. Okay, so I have to, so I have to select the previous cell, and then I have to add always the same number. So if I do this in this E75, I have to type $E$17. And now if I drag it down, now it works. So if I drag it down all the way up to year 25, this is what I get. Okay, let's analyze this. Because it looks too good to be true. So if we spend $9,000 on that PV array, that means that with the current price of energy, this is the money that I make every single year. And this is a yearly outcome. So what's the break-even point? The break-even point is the year in which I start making money. So it's the fourth year. So if you have this business, you can make sure that your client will go for it. Because at the fourth year, you start making money. Yes, so you have 3 years that your balance is negative because you have spent more money than you are receiving every year. But as of the fourth year, you start making money with this. So at the end of the year 25, you have made $83,000. So now, this is a question of investment. Is it worth investing 9,000 today to get 83,000 in 25 years? Would you do that? Imagine that there is someone, or I ask you, okay, can you please, each of you, can you give me $9,000? And then I promise you that in 25 years, I will give you back 83,000. Would you trust me? I don't think, well, I don't see a lot of trust here in this classroom. Okay. If the price of energy keeps 0.2, if we trust the company, we trust this Chinese company that have provided us with the PV panels, and we trust that they will last up to 25 years. We can do that. What if the price of energy drops? So imagine that the price of energy is not 0.2, it's 0.1. So it drops by half. In theory, that would be good news because we will end up paying less energy. But what is the balance? Okay, things are not that good because instead of making 83,000, I make only 37. So I have to pay the same amount of money, 9,000. And after 25 years, I will receive only 37. What if it's the other way around? The price of energy keeps growing. So imagine that it's 0.5. Wow. So if it's 0.5, instead of making $80,000, I make 222,000. So what's the lesson that we have to learn with this? If we invest in renewable energies, we want things to go wrong. Because every time something terrible happens in the world, the price of energy rises. If there's a war in Ukraine, the price of energy rises. If there's a conflict in the Middle East, the price of energy rises. If we have whatever, the price of energy goes up. So if we decide to invest in renewable energies, if the world is perfect, then the price of energy will be, if we found a reliable source of energy that make the price of energy go down, everybody will be happy about that, but our investment won't be that good. If something wrong happens in the world and that makes the price of energy go up and up, then our investment will be much better. I'm not really so I think this is very optimistic. We found that in this website. That's why it's my favorite website, because we can find a lot of bargains there. But let's see, PV array price in New Hampshire. So let's see if we can have a quote. Okay, so look at this. In February 2024, so right now, the average solar panel system costs $3 per watt, including installation in New Hampshire. For a 5 kilowatt installation, this comes out about this. And we have the federal tax credit. Okay, so let's do this. So we have $3 per watt. So let's take this this element. What's the price of the PV array? We have dollars per watt. So let's say that this is 3.5. Okay, so we have this price, $3.5 per watt. So how many watts do we have? We are in option 2. Okay, so in option 2, that's option 2. And the DC size, it's 15 kilowatts. Okay, so 15 kilowatts is 15,000 watts. So here with option 2, we have 15,000 watts. Okay, so what's the price that makes more sense? So that is 3.5 times the amount of watts. Okay, so it's not 9,000. Well, maybe it's offered 20 kilowatt PV array, including batteries, they sell it to you for 9,000. I think this is more realistic. So here we have 52,000 kilowatt hours. So now we have to do this again, because this is the initial investment is 52,000. And now we have 52,000 minus, let's keep this in 0.2, the price of energy. So the yearly outcome is 3,800. And yeah, so that's more realistic. If we spend 52,000 after taxes, the break-even point is around year 14. Okay, so with the Chinese prices, the break-even point is much closer than with the actual New Hampshire prices. But it happens the same. So if we increase the price of energy to 0.5, the break-even point, it's in year 6. And we have this outcome at the end of the 25-year period. If the price of energy goes down, then probably we will never recover the investment, not even in 25 years. Okay, so if things go well, if the price of energy goes down, probably the worst thing we can do right now, today in 2024, is investing in renewable energies. If things go bad and the price of energy goes up, probably one of the best things we can do nowadays is to invest in renewable energies. Because in 25 years, we will have a lot of money. So what's next? We should find the evolution of the price of energy prices in New Hampshire. Let's say in US. Okay, so in the US, from 1999 to 2022, it's a year-over-year growth of over 12%. So over the last 30 years, the price of energy has been growing 30% or 12%. So can we say that the price of energy will grow 12% from now until 2040 or 2050? I don't know. I told you that this is economics. This is not science. Or if it's science, I don't know the parameters that can predict this. But energy-wise, I showed you how to create a zero-energy building. So that's my job here. Business-wise, probably you need to know more to tell your client if this investment makes sense or it doesn't.